Okay, this video we're going to talk about mass and weight, basic concept in physics and engineering. We know mass is basically the amount of matter in there, and the unit will be in SI is kilogram, and in US system is pound mass, and in British gravitational unit it's slug, right? And in order to get weight, weight is basically a force, right? So weight is in SI unit is Newton in both US, and the BG unit is pound force. And the relationship between the weight is the weight and the mass is mg, m times g. Its weight is a gravitational pull to that from that object to the Earth. So for this situation, we're going to look at the g here. G in SI is going to be equal to 9.81 meter per second square. It takes the acceleration unit. G in US system, that's going to be equal to 32.2 foot per second square. All right. And we also know another concept to quick review, Newton is basically kilogram times meter per second square, because it's m mass times acceleration, and pound force has a unit of slug. You know, that's not very commonly used, but pound force is slug times foot per second square. Okay. Another quick concept to review is we know one slug is equal to 32.2 pound mass. That's from a previous video in dimensions and units. One last point to review, help with this concept, is we know 1 pound mass weighs 1 pound force on Earth. Okay, so those are the concepts. Now let's look at some example. Let's see, mass 1, let's see if it's 10 kilogram. All right, and what's going to be the weight in Newton? So in order to solve this one, we know weight is mg, and m is 10 kilogram, and in g, of course, we're going to use this SI unit because we are in SI unit here using kilogram. So 9.8 meter per second square. Then put our numbers together, that's 98. Then let's look at the unit, kilogram meter per second square. And that's our Newton. So it's 98 Newton for this problem. Now let's look at another example. F mass here is equal to 10 slug. They want us to find what's the weight in, let's see, pound force. What would that be? In order to solve this, we are going to use same formula, mass times gravitational coefficient, and it's 10 slug for mass. However, here we are in a different system, so we're going to use 32.2 foot per second square. Again, look at our numbers, so that's 322. And what is the unit? What's the slug times foot per second square? Slug times foot per second square, that's our pound force. So the answer for that is 322 pound force. All right, now let's look at another example. Here, mass is no longer 10 slug, it's 10 pound mass, because that's different. What do you think about the weight gonna be in pound force? Well, if you said, I don't need to solve this problem, I already know the answer, then you're on the right track. The answer is 10. Because why? Because 1 pound mass with 1 pound force. 10 pound mass will weigh 10 pound force on our planet, on our Earth, right? So that's going to be really easy. But if you want to go ahead trying to solve it, welcome to do that, because this is actually necessary to do it one time, then you are convinced. You can we're still gonna use mg, but here is 10 pound mass, and here we're going to use SI unit 32.2 foot per second square. But now pound mass per second square is, there's no unit for that. We have to change this pound mass to slug. How do we do that? So we keep pound mass here. We want to get rid of pound mass to put at the bottom of fraction, and in the numerator we want a slug. Then go back to this relationship. We say that 1 slug is equal to 32.2. So 1 slug is equal to 32.2. I'm going to put 32.2 at the bottom because together that's going to be equal to 1, right? You times 1. That's how we do unit conversion. And that is the reason we put pound mass at the bottom, slug at the top, because we want to get rid of pound mass. We desire slug. And then since 1 slug is 32.2 pound mass, that's why 32.2 is at the bottom. Okay, now, so we change this pound mass to slug. Continue. We're going to times that g, which is 32.2 foot per second square. Well, take a moment. Let's see what you have. You get rid of pound mass. Then you have what? 32 and 32 canceled out. Right? And what do we have? You have 10 slug times foot per second square. All right, what's slug times foot per second square again? That's right. It's going to be our pound force. So the answer is 10 pound force. So what you did here is you convinced yourself through this that 32.2 is canceled out because the relationship between slug and pound mass, 1 slug is 32.2 pound mass, and also gravitational pull coefficient is 32.2. Then that makes it valid. Hopefully this will help you with any mass to weight problem through those 3 examples. And what we, at the beginning of this video, that shows the basic concept to help us navigate this and just make it very clear for yourself, and then you will have no problem. All right, bye now.